If you're a content creator, you might be wondering where to start your journey in 2025. After all, there are so many potential goals that you could set for yourself in 2025, and the face of content creation is constantly changing. So in today's video, I wanted to write up a content creator to-do list for 2025 and go through some of the elements that I think you should prioritize this year and maybe even capitalize on. But for those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Kaylee and I'm a beauty and fashion photographer based near Sydney, Australia. But I'm also a content creator, and I started this channel a few years ago to talk about all things business, social media, freelancing, and content creation. And as I mentioned, today's video will be all about a content creator to-do list for 2025, and hopefully you'll be able to take some of these aspects away for your own content creator journey this year. So I think it's really important to first talk about the evolving landscape of content creation. Now, there's quite a few points that I want to mention under this, and I think it's a real highlight of this video today when we're going to be talking about this, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, things are constantly changing with content creation. Platforms are changing, revenue streams are changing, software is constantly changing. It's really important to be across some of these things year to year if you want to get on top of your content creation and make sure you're kind of ahead of the game in that way. And I think really one of the first points here is to consider the rise of AI and its impact on content creation. Now, I think for a lot of people these days, there's a love-hate relationship with AI, and I completely understand it. Coming from a creator myself, I totally understand how a lot of people view AI in these ways. There's a lot of fear around AI these days, and I think there's a lot of hesitation from a lot of creators to actually get onto certain platforms or to utilize AI in general. Now, my own personal view with this is I think you have to be really particular with the kind of AI platforms that you choose to utilize. I think that there is a lot of ethical issues definitely out there with AI these days, and specifically when it comes to creators and people in the creative fields. But I personally think it's going to be really important for a lot of creators this year to get onto platforms that align with your values and that can genuinely help your creative process. Ideally, you want to utilize AI platforms that are going to make your life easier. So whether you want to look at this as more of a back-end option for your business or for your content creation, now this might come down to scheduling your work. For example, using a social media scheduler where you can have AI elements that will make this work a lot quicker for you. Now, as a creator, a lot of the time I think we'd rather focus on being creative and doing things where we can actually create products or create artworks or create videos. Content creation, is covering such a wide span of this. And I think for the most part, we'd rather be focused on that than doing a lot of the business orientated stuff in the back end. I feel like there's some things that just make your life easier when it comes to AI. And I definitely feel I can utilize tools with this when I'm scheduling my social media posts, potentially for repurposing some of my content, or even when it comes to help generating ideas for me when it comes to my content creation. There's nothing worse when it comes to having a creative block. And sometimes using AI tools can really help you to sort of jog out of that block and really help you come up with some inspiration. For example, when it comes to doing video outlines, that's not always my favorite part of YouTube and, creating videos. I love coming up with ideas and I love brainstorming. And there's different AI tools now on YouTube now that will really help you to form these ideas and form these video outlines without you having to sit there for days thinking of writing everything out word for word or scripts or anything like that. It's going to just kind of help that creative process move along a little bit more quickly. As I mentioned, when it comes to also filling out captions and things like that when you're scheduling your social media posts, there are a lot of tools out there these days that will help with that. As I've mentioned previously, I tend to use Metrical for a lot of my social media scheduling and analytics, and they have some amazing AI tools there that can really help with that. And the next point under looking at the evolving nature of content creation is to research shifting audience preferences and consumption patterns. I think it's really important to constantly research and consider patterns within your audience consumption, so specifically within your niche that you've chosen as a content creator, really looking at how people are consuming content, and even slight differences with this can really make a huge difference with your content creation and with your audience. For example, I really want to highlight this because it's been on my mind for so long, but I feel like looking back 10 years ago on YouTube, if your video was any longer than like 10 to 15 minutes, it was kind of considered a sin. And I still remember, having certain brand deals or, speaking with other creators in my niche and then basically saying you need to cut your videos down, you need to make sure that your videos are snappier, that they're not any longer than about 10 minutes. Otherwise, people are just not going to watch them. They're not going to stay invested in your videos. And I remember that being a really huge thing at the time, even though certain things had started to move with monetization requirements and videos longer than I think it was around 8 to 10 minutes could actually put more ads into videos on YouTube so you would earn more money. But I still think think even at that point, it wasn't enough of a marker to kind of have people make longer video content. And I feel that it was still kind of this standard to stick to videos that were under 10 minutes so people would actually watch the majority of them. Nowadays, people are watching like 45-minute vlogs of creators just going about their daily day-to-day tasks. It can be as simple and potentially as boring as cleaning the house and, you know, just doing really day-to-day duties, and people will watch 45-minute vlogs these days on YouTube. That is just the nature of how things have changed, and I think a lot of people have shifted from being super present with every video they watch to now, you know, having videos on in the background, more like a podcast, you know, having daily ramblings and talking to your audience, and it's something that they can then watch in their own day-to-day lives when they're just doing their own work or working from home. Things have changed so much with the nature of work in general that now videos on YouTube have really changed in how they're being viewed and how they're being consumed. And this is one major thing that I've really noticed from year to year that has become more prevalent, is that people are watching longer videos these days on YouTube, even though short form content is such a huge thing at the moment with Instagram and TikTok and other platforms, and that has become sort of a standard as well for consuming content. I think it's important to make sure you research these things platform to platform, because definitely nowadays on YouTube, people are watching longer videos, and it's not just about keeping them short and snappy anymore and under 10 minutes. And the last point here is to really be aware of emerging platforms and distribution channels. Just really make sure you're looking into new social media sites at the moment, because for example, with what we all know is going on with TikTok at the moment, with having the ban and then potentially having a delay now in the ban, but potentially still being banned in future, there has been and will be a shift towards other social media platforms and potentially new social media platforms, especially this year if they're going to be similar to TikTok. Now, one particular platform that has been on the rise with a lot of Western creators is Rednote. I think it's also known as Little Red Book, and it's a Chinese-owned social media platform. So a lot of Western creators have started to migrate to this particular platform, and it really is a totally new world of content there. It is very similar to TikTok, however, it is not exactly the same as TikTok, but it is important to do your research when it comes to these kind of global events where certain social media sites may be on the out or may be changing, and look for those new potential trends with social media sites like even Rednote, which has definitely become a more popular social media site for Western creators in the last month or so. Now, the next part of this is to really prioritize your content strategy, and identifying your target audience and their needs has to be at the top of this list. I know I'm a broken record. I've been speaking about this in so many of my videos, especially in January at the beginning of the year, but identifying your target audience is so important. You really need to know why you're creating content for the audience that you have, and to find that out, you really need to find out who your audience is. You need to find out what they want to watch and why they want to watch it. And by doing this will really help you to tailor your social media strategy a lot better by making sure you're aware of who your target audience is. Also, make sure you define your content pillars and niche. This is also a really important point because it will help you narrow down the kind of content that you want to produce. Defining this can really help everything seem a lot more easier and straightforward when it comes to your content creation, and you'll have some specific content pillars to rely on. Now, I'm also not going to say here to only pick one niche. I have said this a lot in my videos previously, but I think it's okay if you have more than one niche. I think as long as you are setting out a schedule that works for you and that is suitable for the amount of time that you have, and you can justify having the time for more than one niche, I think it's okay to have several niches across different platforms if that's something that you want to do. I know it can be really hard to narrow it down to one specific niche, so if there's more than one niche that you're considering, that's okay. I do think it's really important to have those content pillars though, so you know what kind of content you're going to be creating on a regular basis for your niche. And along with this, make sure you're creating a consistent content calendar and workflow. So for this year, I think it's really important to create a content calendar and obviously a schedule that works for you. This is going to make the world of difference with your workflow and really help you to stay on track with everything content creation related. I've spoken about content calendars before on my channel, and I'm actually going to be speaking about them again in a couple of my future videos early this year. I really love talking about content calendars and how they can help make such a difference with your workflow, and I truly believe that having dedicated content calendars will really help you stay on track with all of your content creation this year. And this point specifically leads me into talking about today's video sponsor, PicsArt. PicsArt is an all-in-one creative platform with a wide selection of free AI design tools. And creating content calendars in particular with PicsArt is a breeze. But with PicsArt, you can basically design anything. So whether it's content planners, invoices, website and social media banners, logos, and more, PicsArt has everything available at your fingertips. And you can consider your content creator needs covered. You can easily get started on PicsArt by selecting from the countless ready-made templates, or utilize their design elements to create something from scratch. The choice is yours. Just a few of the cool features underneath the PicsArt 2025 launch pack for creators is the AI sticker generator, Assets Genie, Batch AI background replacer, Brand Kit, AI logo maker, Motion Studio, and Story Maker. If you're looking to upgrade your branding as a content creator in 2025, make sure to click the link in the description box below to check out PicsArt for free. Thanks again to PicsArt for sponsoring this video. And now on to mastering the art of engagement. So there's a few really important points underneath this heading that I think are essential for content creators this year to make sure that they're doing, and especially when it does come to engagement with your audience, because I think this is personally key to becoming a great successful content creator, is making sure that you're engaging with your audience. And the first point is utilize interactive elements and make sure you've got engaging storytelling. And I really think this comes down to finding the best ways through certain social media platforms that will give you the best way of engaging with your audience, and essentially to become more interactive with you as well. Whether this is using more stickers and polls on Instagram stories, or doing similar polls or posts here on YouTube, making use of some of those elements that are already on these social media sites can make the world of difference when it comes to your audience engagement. The next point is to build a strong community through collaboration and interaction. As I mentioned, engaging with your audience is key, and to build a strong community with your audience, you really need to be interacting with them regularly. Whether this is making more of a conscious effort to reply to all of your comments on social media, commenting on other creators' work in your niche, because I always think that that's a wonderful way to interact and build a strong community, is by actually going and following and commenting on people's works in your own niche. Or you can even collaborate with different creators in your niche. These are some great ways to actually start building community. And along with these 2 points, leverage your data analytics to optimize your content performance. This is where you should really have a key way to start tracking how your content is performing. As I've already mentioned in this video and other videos on my channel, I personally use Metrical for this. I find that they have a really good analytics section where I can go in for all of my social media sites and actually get a deep dive into the analytics of my content and see how it's performing. It especially allows me to draw on different statistics like engagement rates, not only for my overall engagement rate of my social media platforms, but specific engagement rates for specific pieces of content. And these are the kinds of analytics that I can't actually get from regular social media sites and their kind of like analytics summaries that they tend to have like on Instagram and here on YouTube. They won't give me specific statistics like engagement rates. So it's really good to have a platform where you can start tracking a lot of your content that way and really track your performance and see what might need to change over the short or long term. And now we're going to be moving on to future-proofing your content. So there's definitely going to be some crossover here between what I was mentioning earlier in the video with kind of keeping up with the evolving landscape of content creation and also looking at future-proofing. And the first point here is to embrace new technologies and trends. Along with AI, it's a really great opportunity here to start looking at different trends within your own niche, and particularly new technologies or even old technologies that might be becoming more of a trend or more of a popular feature within your niche. For example, in the photography community, there's been a huge resurgence in film photography over the last 5 to 10 years especially. And although film has kind of always had its cult following in terms of film photography and in terms of some photographers specifically shooting only on film, but there has been a big resurgence in the popularity of it, and it's definitely something that I could capitalize for my own photography and retouching channel and really move more into film photography as well. That could kind of capture a different audience. So it's really important to look at those trends within your own niche and see those new technologies or old that might be kind of arising where it might be a really good time to hop on board as well. And the next point is to adapt to platform updates and algorithm changes. So algorithm changes are absolutely the bane of my existence because they change so often, but it is really important to stay updated with them, particularly with Instagram and TikTok, and I find more short form platforms. I honestly think that the algorithm is constantly changing, but really keeping ahead of the curve with a lot of this, I really feel that you'll continue to see success. So really make sure that you're posting regularly to these sites so you can kind of notice when a lot of these algorithm changes do take effect. Platform updates can include huge changes as well. So I'm assuming that a lot of people already know that if you've been on Instagram recently, you'll notice that they've actually trialed just having a portrait style grid where the squares are no longer. So that's a really big thing for a lot of photographers and people who are sort of focusing on the visual elements of Instagram. So making sure you're aware of those platform changes and make sure you're noting those down so you don't accidentally continue optimizing a lot of your content, for example, for square grids on Instagram. And now that that change has been made, it's something to consider. So really look into platform changes this year. Make sure you're up to date with those as well. And as a general point here that refers to the first part of this video, it's really to stay informed about the evolving landscape of content creation. Now, this can of course be for content creation itself or building a sustainable business around content creation. As I've mentioned in previous videos, there are so many different ways you can make a living as a content creator, and these ways are evolving. So it's important to take note of this and really see where that can kind of lead you as well with your income as a content creator too. And now let's look at some actionable steps for 2025 success. The first point is to set specific and measurable goals for your content. I talk about this all the time, and I will have some more videos on goal setting on my channel here, but goal setting will really help you to put plans into action. Just always remember to keep them realistic, and I always find that bite-sized goals really can help you to achieve that bigger goal that you might have. But definitely look out for more of these videos on my channel because, as I mentioned, I will be doing more videos on goal setting, and I really think it's an important factor of being a content creator and someone who's running their own business. The next point is to invest in resources and tools to streamline your workflow. A really difficult aspect of being an aspiring content creator is that you may not be at that point yet where you can invest a lot into your business. And that's okay, and I completely understand that. As someone who has had their ups and downs of being a content creator and a freelancer over the years, there are times where you're just not going to be able to invest much into your business, and that's okay. However, I absolutely would still do some research into certain tools and platforms that may be able to help you make your life and your business a lot easier, and your workflow in particular, even if it's a smaller investment that you need to make. Certain platforms out there have literally been created to make your life easier, and a couple of those that I'm just going to mention here, of course, are PixArt, which I've spoken about already in this video. They are today's video sponsor. And when it comes to anything design-wise and really helping you out with your branding, that is going to be such a great tool to utilize for that and for your business. Maybe you'll need a social media scheduler to make sure that all of that is taken care of for the foreseeable future, which I definitely recommend as someone who is a full-time content creator at the moment. Having a scheduler makes your life so much easier. So again, Metrical is something that I use, but it is definitely important to look into. Even with a small investment, it can really make a huge difference in your workflow. Or even if you need to look into a website builder, for example, I use Squarespace. Squarespace is a really good option for me because it takes away the real hard work of developing a website. I don't have that much knowledge behind me when it comes to building a website, so using a platform like Squarespace is really good for that. I can easily make my website look good because of all the design elements that they have on there, and I can do it in literally minutes. Everything is like at your fingertips there with Squarespace, and having a website builder like that is going to be so much easier for you as a creator, and making sure that you're not having to sit there building a website from scratch and really updating it constantly like that. Using something like a simplified website builder is going to make your life easier. Just ensure that you invest in things that you feel will make a good impact with your business, and as long as you're doing that, then hopefully your workflow will become a lot easier. And the last point here today is to continuously learn, adapt, and experiment with new strategies. So always learning is my motto. I swear to you, that is what I've said for the last 10 years of my career. I genuinely believe that any creative, I feel should always be learning in some way or another. I think it's silly to sit back and feel like we've learnt it all when there's just so much that you can be learning and really evolving with when it comes to being a creative and being a content creator. I definitely feel like there's always more to learn, and really don't be afraid to learn new things or adapt to new changes, and always experiment with new strategies and content. This way you'll be really able to nail down what works and what doesn't. And that, I feel like, is such a key part of being a content creator, making sure that you're looking at what works and what doesn't. So always keep learning and always keep experimenting. Well, thank you so much for watching this video today. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure you do, because I'll be posting a lot more in future. Let me know down in the comments section below what's on your content creator to-do list for 2025. I would love to hear your thoughts. And make sure to hit the notification bell to see all of the updates in future from my channel. And just another quick reminder, if you want to go go and check out PixArt for free, make sure to click the link in the description box below. But thank you so much as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.